Okay, and we are live. Welcome to a new episode of All Things Xbox Podcast. Logan is once again with me. Logan, how you doing this week?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, there's so much going on right now in games, sports, life in general. It should be a fun show. How about you, man?
It's been a long week for people that follow me on Twitter. You know, we didn't have a show yesterday because Logan couldn't make it, and I just randomly got sick throughout the day. And as I was joking behind the scenes, I have the immune system of a tennis racket. My white blood cells do nothing. So I get sick all the time. But other than that, it's been a good week. We've had lots of gaming news, lots of good positive stuff, and for some stuff that I can't actually put in the title, which we'll get into in a bit. But it's been a fun week. Logan, it's been a long week. What have you been playing?
Yeah, I've been playing a bunch of different stuff, and some will tie into a topic directly later in the show. But I've um I've started a game called Desolation. It is currently on sale on the Xbox Play Anywhere thing for like that 99 cent to like $2 kind of sale,
Oh,
whatever it
yeah.
is. And it's basically there's like these graphic novel style cutscenes and like narratives and voice acting, like spread outs and stuff
Yeah.
that are inspired by the works of Lovecraft, but then it's a point and click adventure in like first person with realistic graphics. So it's a really interesting juxtaposition of stuff. But I'm enjoying that so far. I started it on my Ally X, and I've been playing Chronos New Dawn. I finished it, playthrough one. I'm on New Game Plus now, and I know what to do basically to just plow through the game and get back to the end and make whatever decision I need to get the true ending. So that's basically what I'm working on. I'm getting through it pretty fast. Been playing that on both the Ally X and my Series X. Been playing let's see, Power Wash Sim, of course, because Christmas comes early tomorrow with Power
Yeah.
Wash Sim 2. You know what? It actually made history as I don't know if you can quote me on it, but I think it might have been the first review I've ever seen from Wario64 on a game.
Wow.
He liked it that much that he posted, and he's like, "Yeah, I've been playing it and I absolutely love it," basically. So it's already got Wario's stamp of approval, which is high praise. I cannot wait for that tomorrow, and you can bet I'll be playing the heck out of that on my Ally X. And been playing Power Wash Sim, and then some boomer shooters, and gearing up to just really go all in with the Ally X lately. How about you, man? What have you been doing?
I've been all over the place when it comes to games. I finally, after 4 months, finished Final Fantasy 16. Yeah.
Oh, did your check finally clear?
Yeah, I've got a special chair coming. But seriously though, my God, right? I'm sure people listening that every so often you're going to play a game that once the credits roll, you sit there thinking, "Wow, that was amazing," and then you just don't know what to play. You kind of stumps, thinking like, "How can I play something that's better than this?" And honestly, like I had to sit in silence for about 10 minutes after I finished the game. I was like, that was incredible. Like honestly, that game gets a lot of hate in the Final Fantasy fandom, and I just can't figure out why. Like maybe it's because it's an action-based game. Maybe it's because the tone is like it's more adult-centric. It's more mature. Like Final Fantasy's always had mature themes, but like this one is like really mature compared to the previous ones. But like it was absolute peak. It wasn't perfect, but then again, no game's perfect. It was incredible. Like it was like just shy away from me giving it a full 10 out of 10. Like, if I have the time and I can get it finished, I will post a full review about it. But like, that game was just scraping being a 10 out of 10. And I did everything in that game. I did this every side quest available. I did both expansions. I did some of the challenges. I'll get into why I didn't do the challenges later on, but it was incredible. The story was hard hitting. It was but Final Fantasy has this habit of having these really cool games that feature really annoying protagonists. At least for me, anyway. And I always talk about how Final Fantasy X is one of my favorite games of all time. But Tidus, every time he speaks, you want to walk out the room.
Oh, he's the biggest wine bag ever.
Yeah, he whines all the time, and it's one of the reasons why, like, I talk about Crisis Core a lot. I think Zack Fair is an incredible protagonist. He's cringy in a funny way because he's like kind of cocky. But like Clive in Final Fantasy 16 is like the best way I can put it is like he's manly, like he's rugged. He actually like he doesn't whine throughout the game, not even once. Even when you play as like the younger version of him, I might get hate for this, and I'll post about it on Twitter during the week. I think he's the best Final Fantasy protagonist. Cloud's cool, Zack Fair's awesome, but Clive curb stomps all of them. I like Lightning.
Wow, that's high praise.
Yeah, like I think Lightning's a really good protagonist who always gets a lot of hate, just because like her scene she doesn't have a lot of emotion in, but if you play the games you understand why. But when it comes to Final Fantasy 16, like if you have an Xbox right now or PC or PlayStation, you have to play Final Fantasy 16. It's perfect for newcomers because it features the least confusing upgrade system of any of the games. It's super easy. You get upgrade points, you spend them on abilities. That's it. That is literally it. There's no overly complicated menus. Everything's pretty in your face when it comes to like how simple it is, but it works. And for an action centric Final Fantasy game, they nailed it. If they announce Final Fantasy 17 tomorrow and they say, look, it's going to have the exact same combat system as 16, I'd be like, nice, good one. Because, look, there's been this one for turn-based games ever since Expedition 33 came out. People have realized, oh yeah, we can have turn-based games and have them be fun because, some people just couldn't get behind them. Honestly, as someone that was on the side of we need more turn-based games, after finishing 16, we need more action-centric ones. Like, it was so good. And, like, literally, for me, right now, I'd have to say it was like a 9.95 out of 10. It was just scraping a 10. Funny thing about that game is you get a big achievement. I think it's like 50G or 100G for collecting every collectible in the game. And I did that, and I had one left to go. I'm like, right, I'm going to get this achievement. And it turns out this one collectible is kind of locked to a challenge mode I don't like. So, like, that's, like, the one aspect of the game I didn't really enjoy. So I'll have to go and get that at some point. But, like, it was brilliant. It was really good. And, we have 7 coming to Xbox right around the corner, which is going to be good. For people listening live right now, we typically have this podcast on Tuesdays. So, like, people aren't typically used to seeing this in their feed on Wednesdays. I didn't actually get out to notify everyone just in time that the podcast was happening today. So if you enjoyed it, please hit like. It really does help the algorithm and all that stuff. And sharing does help with the podcast going forward. So, what else have I been playing? Oh, Keeper. Keeper by Double Fine. What a charming game. I've only been able to play it for maybe 2 hours. I think around 2 hours. But it's such a charming game. When you play a Double Fine title, you know what you're getting into. They have very quirky storytelling in their games with a unique art style. The game kind of has this Pixar thing going on. Like, Logan, when you see an older Pixar movie at the cinemas, you used to get a Pixar short beforehand.
Oh yeah, like the like the birds on the electric line, and
Yeah,
then like that giant bird hopped on it and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah. So this whole game feels like a Pixar short because there's no
Ooh, I
dialogue in the
like
game,
that.
and you play as a sentient lighthouse that kind of has this slight control over a seabird, but the intertwine light puzzles and time travel mechanics. If you play it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. But it's such a chill game, and I can't wait to get back towards that. It's just a good game, And by the way, while we're talking about Keeper, I've noticed every time I've posted about the trailers or new screenshots, I've had one or two replies on Twitter saying they're disappointed that Double Fine is still making these games under Microsoft. Like they thought they were going to get these Uber $200 million like action adventure games all of a sudden with photorealistic graphics. Like there
That's
is
not who Tim Schafer is.
Yeah, that's not who Tim Schafer is. That's not what Double Fine is. Like if you realistically thought like, okay, it's 2018 or 2019, Microsoft buys Double Fine, an artistic studio that's known to make very quirky games. If you really believed that they were all of a sudden going to start pumping out, God of War, because like why would they do that all of a sudden? I think the industry's big enough for different kinds of games, and shouldn't we want more games like that? Like think about it. In the age where people are wanting the biggest game all the time with most realistic graphics, they put out a game where you play as a sentient lighthouse where there's no spoken dialogue. Right? That is the kind of risk I actually like to see from developers. So yeah, I did put like 123 hours into Final Fantasy 16. It has gorgeous graphics, realistic visuals. However, Keeper, it's a very nice change of pace. If you played Psychonauts 2, that game has very innovative, like I'd say, storytelling and gameplay, and like that's what they do. So like I don't want to see Double Fine on a huge AAA big budget game. That's not what they do. And I think the closest game they did to that was actually Brutal Legend back on the 360, and even then it surprised people because halfway through the game they changed genres. you know?
That
like
still irritates me.
as
Yeah.
much as I love Double Fine, that did throw people out for a loop because you're playing this third person action adventure game where you swing this guitar axe, and then halfway through the game, oh yeah, by the way, we changed into an RTS. It wasn't in any of the marketing. Nobody expected it or saw it coming. But yeah, all of a sudden it changed genres. And even as someone that loves RTS games, I played Brutal Legend to be an action game with metal music. But hey, it is what it is. So I've had fun with that. And my God. Oh yeah, I just got not even a review code, just a code to cover Dying Light the Beast. And I fired it up today. And let me tell you, if you're a Dying Light fan, you're gonna love that game. I've only gotten past the intro, but it basically combines elements of Dying Light 1 and Dying Light 2. You have Dying Light 1's Kyle Crane, who's back, whose story is so good. Honestly, you play Dying Light 1 and 2 for the gameplay. You don't stick around for the story. However, in this game, they've completely shifted to cinematic storytelling with cutscenes, which I did not see coming at all. It's not in any of the trailers, and it kind of surprised me, which I thought was really cool. So you have Kyle Crane back with a really interesting story, which I won't talk about, in a new area with new abilities, and you have Dying Light 2's more refined gameplay. Chef's kiss. Honestly, and personally, I think Dying Light is the best zombie franchise when it comes to games. That might be controversial, maybe, I don't know, but I think that's the.
Over Resident Evil?
Oh, damn, you're right. I was
I was about to say,
yeah,
man.
yeah. You mentioned zombie game, and I was thinking things like Dead Island, Dead Rising and that stuff. But yeah, you're right. No, okay, Resident Evil's always going to be better. But if we're talking about action games, I've got to go Dying Light. And it's a good game.
I'd agree.
Like it's a genuine good game, Dying Light the Beast. And I can't wait to see what they do in the future. Next week, I'll obviously have gameplay to show because literally I fired up that game 2 hours ago. Let's see what else we have here. Okay, let's talk about Arc Raiders. Now, while people are coming to the show, I'll talk about the multiplayer thing quickly because for 2 years I've been trying to tell people that Arc Raiders is going to be absolutely massive. And a lot of people said I was wrong. A lot of people said this isn't going to take off, and we get the tech test over the past weekend, or I should say the server slam, and it almost crashed Steam. So many people were playing this, so many people were downloading this on Xbox and PlayStation, and it's huge. Like I've been trying to tell people, this is going to be the extraction game that pops off on console, and I managed to play through this on solo and in co-op. Man, I have a lot of feelings about this game, good and bad. So I'll get the bad out of the way quickly because there's not much of it. If you play in solo, you can still be put up against full squads, and squads go up to 3 players. The system in place they have does try and put you in games that are filled with predominantly single-player players. So, like, you're not always going to be stuck into a match with, like, multiple, like, team-based teams, if that makes sense. You're going to be facing other single-player dudes. Now, unfortunately, I did get put into a few matches where I was facing full squads. So, like, I lost a lot of gear playing this server slam. But I had a ton of fun. Like, let's talk about the visuals. You have gorgeous visuals in this game. Like, borderline photorealistic lighting. And this is running Unreal Engine 5, and it runs at 60 frames per second locks. Right? Logan, how many times have we heard this generation about Unreal Engine 5's performing bad?
It's been a alarming amount, to be honest. It seems like everybody, it takes them years to finally figure it out. Then they start getting it going, and then they release games that are still broken, and then they're already talking about the next Unreal Engine. I'm like,
Yeah.
hold up, y'all haven't even mastered this one yet.
Yeah. You know, for people that are wondering in chat right now, if you have any questions about Helldivers, just put it in chat and I'll answer them because did I say Helldivers there?
Yes, you said Helldivers, not Arc Raiders.
Because I just saw Helldivers in chat. If you have any questions about Arc Raiders in chat, just type it in now and I'll answer them. Doesn't have to be super chats, but super chats are appreciated. But I'll answer literally anything about Arc Raiders because I think this game is going to really surprise people. So, can you play with randoms? Yep, you can. There's a squad up button. It's super easy. And by the way, when it comes to UIs for extraction games, the ones I've played on console have been pretty terrible. Actually, awful. But they nailed it with this. Super easy to understand UI. The crafting system is one of the easiest crafting systems I've ever used in a game. And like squadding up or playing solo is easy. You know, on the home screen, it shows you your character. It shows you the missions you can do. Or sorry, the missions that you've signed up to do. But also I think by default you play solo, but literally if you hold in the right stick for like 2 seconds, it'll fill in a squad fill. And you'll be put into a squad with 2 other players. And man, like, look, I talk about how I don't play multiplayer games much, but like this is a different kind of experience. Like you can play this as a single player person and still get something from it. You know, so you do find other players that are, you know, they're searching for loot and they're fighting robots and stuff. But also, there's some story elements to this. The objective of completing tasks actually unlocks cutscenes, which unlocks more story. And I never thought they'd do that for an extraction game. So they've got single player centric elements in here for a multiplayer extraction game, and it just works. It just works. Can you melee people? Yep. You basically have this like big pickaxe thing, which also is used as a zipline attachment. So like you have lots of options in this game for gameplay. You have melee, you have close quarters, you have ranged combat, weapons. The weapons lean towards more realistic. So think about how Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 do the majority of their weapons. You know, weapons are built from scrap, but they fire bullets. But some weapons that are more advanced fire things like electrical pulses and stuff. And it just fits the vibe. And honestly, I think Fallout fans might want to try this. Because even though it is a multiplayer extraction game, you can just go in and mess around, really. And yeah, I was put into matches with sweats, blatant sweats. I don't know if I've got the clip on this podcast. I'm pretty sure I do, where there was a full team of people. I'm not even kidding. They were camped above an extraction point, and I didn't see them, so I had to sprint for my life to get into there. But it was fun. And bear in mind, I've only played 2 other extraction games on Xbox that are both terrible. But for this one, you can pick a free loadout. So if you want, you can go into a match with a quote-unquote free loadout, and the game will give you a random shield, a random weapon, and a random backpack. And you can go in without actually spending or using any of your gear and having no risk. So if you just want to go in, maybe find some cool loot that you can spend, maybe find some weapons that you don't have to risk all your stuff for, you can do that. Which I thought was really cool, because after losing 1 or 2 upgraded guns, I thought, screw this. I want to see what I can get for free. And I got a bunch of cool stuff. Which was really nice. And for people that have been following me for a while, especially on Twitter, you'll know that I was posting about Delta Force Extraction for a little bit. The way they do stamina in that game and the way people were camping at extraction points was way worse than Arc Raiders. Arc Raiders, you can still lose your stuff and still have fun. And I think that's where the game's going to be really successful. Because other extraction games, they feel sweaty all the time. Whereas in this, you could have full matches and not even interact with other players. In fact, there were multiple times. We'll be talking about Escape from Tarkov later in the show, because we have some good stuff to talk about that. Or actually, you know what? We might talk about it with Dark Raiders thing after I'm done with this. But there were times I found other random players in solo mode, and I asked them, and I was hid behind a car, right, with 4 rounds left in my gun, saying look, I just need to do this, this, and this to finish this mission. I'm not gonna hurt you. So I put away my weapon, and I just walked past him. And I actually ended up talking to this person for 10 minutes, which was really cool. So you kind of have that weird Walking Dead aspect that, you're going to interact with players, and you're going to have to make deals with people. And, again, I don't really play multiplayer stuff outside of Warzone. I'm a single-player guy, but I see a lot of single-player gamers picking this up and it being their multiplayer game. And let's talk about its price. My God, they hit the nail on the head. It isn't free to play, but what you're getting a bunch of maps and a lot of content. And in the UK, I believe the game is £30.99. I think in the US it might be $35 or $39. But either way, that's a really good price for the content you're getting. And I think that, look, for me to play an extraction game, not want to rip my eyeballs out of my own head out of being frustrated. Look, I deleted Delta Force out of being angry for losing my stuff. Right? And I was so triggered after losing all my stuff in that game. I was frustrated. Absolutely frustrated. Oh, more things I'll mention about Arc Raiders quickly. If you have enough money, you can buy these things called I think it's called Arc Keys, and basically rather than having to go to an extraction point and wait 45 seconds for this elevator to come up to get you, you literally just open this hatch and jump in. So if you have a lot of change and you don't want to risk a lot of stuff, you can take this Arc Key into the open wasteland and basically not have to wait for an extraction point to come up, which I've never seen in an extraction game before, but I love the mechanic. Recycling material, like every aspect of this game has clearly been designed from the ground up for new players. And I think a lot of console-centric players are actually going to love this game because the UI is essentially for a console, which it works well. Like, I think Destiny perfected the UI for managing inventories and like different loadouts and stuff. It kind of has a Destiny style UI when it comes to its loadouts, which I think is perfectly fine. Logan, I know you don't like extraction games or multiplayer games, but is there anything you want to know about Arc Raiders? Because I was actually shocked to see how much I enjoyed this as someone that enjoys single player games.
Can you play with bots, or is it strictly you play with other folks as well?
So if you play solo, uh, so I'm trying to think how to word this. So the enemies in the game are these robots, the AI controlled enemies. You will always be put into a match with other people, but
Okay.
you don't necessarily like. I had full matches where I didn't even see the players. But it just depends. Like if you 100% don't want to interact with other people whatsoever, you kind of have to in this game. I did say on social media that they should put in a solo only mode. But originally, by the way, this game was a co-op looter shooter with a solo mechanic. And then they changed it to an extraction game, I think maybe 2 years ago. And I think that this is going to be the extraction game that gets people into the door. And I think depending on how long it's supported for, because by the way, they did say this is a 10-year game. And I know we make fun of 10-year games all the time.
I've heard that.
Yeah, like we've heard all the time, like, oh, this is a 10-year game. I get it, right? Like, how many different games? Destiny was a 10-year game, but that got a sequel and expansion, so we can put that to the side. Avengers didn't get hardly any content. Myself and Logan have the digital deluxe or the deluxe version of Anthem. that didn't even get 6 months of content.
Turn the lights off when you leave. Heyo.
Oh my god, I'm still annoyed by that. Like they put up the Christmas, it really annoys me. They put up the Christmas lights in like December and forgot to take them down, and it was like February or March. Like, what were they thinking? But man, Arc Raiders though, like I can see them doing it. I don't think they'll have to do an Arc Raiders 2 at any point in the foreseeable future because all they have to do is add different maps and different guns. So like the problem is with a lot of people that they don't really know what an extraction shooter is. Because it hasn't really been big on console ever, you know. Can you pet cats in Arc Raiders? I didn't try. There are animals, but I didn't try anything like that. For people watching on screen at the minute, there's these little open boxes and these like these containers or rooms, and the game doesn't even tell you what to do with them. But you'll find these little I'm trying to think what to call them. These sort of like meter long boxes where if you find them on the map, if you take them to these buildings with we'll call them a cache. If you put it in there, you get extra items. The game doesn't tell you that until you do a certain mission. But yeah, extraction games aren't big on console. Escape from Tarkov, when that came out in, I want to say 2017, it's been in beta for a very long time. It basically changed the game for multiplayer to the point where it became so popular without even being on Steam that all these other companies start looking at, because look, Battle Royale it's a popular genre. However, I think it's a genre that can't grow anymore. I think unless you're Warzone, unless you're Fortnite, PUBG, or Apex, I really don't think the Battle Royale genre can grow anymore. So you have developers and now really looking at extraction shooters. You, at the minute, you only have Escape from Tarkov that's popping off. And again, that game is huge on PC and it's not even on Steam. Do you know how big of a game you have to be to do well and not be on Steam? It's crazy. Um, oh, you know what? We'll talk about the Escape from Tarkov stuff now. So, Escape from Tarkov has been confirmed to console. Finally. I know I've been joking with Logan for like months. Like, I'm dying to have this game on console, and I've watched a lot of hours of people play Escape from Tarkov. Let's just say if you tried to put that game on console right now, it wouldn't work just because of the gameplay mechanics. Yeah, we'll stop talking about multiplayer in a minute, but I just want to get this out there because it's a big game and I really enjoyed it. But Escape from Tarkov is coming to console. They're obviously going to have to redo some gameplay mechanics to get them to work on a controller. But once they get that sorted, it's like they're going to be golden. And I think it's quite funny that they announced the console version as soon as Arc Raiders start popping off. like, okay, you finally have competition. Congratulations. But that's good for everyone. And, you know, Escape from Tarkov is actually coming to Steam, which is huge because people have been wanting that game on Steam for a very long time. But all in all, Arc Raiders, very fun game. But if you get frustrated very easily, that game will not be for you in any capacity. But if you don't mind, you know, taking a little bit risk, going out in the wasteland, maybe give it a go. I will say this. I do think they should have kept the server slam open for 2 days longer because some people still don't know what that game is. You know, I've been trying to tell people, just give it a go. You know, we shouldn't treat server tests as demos, but if there's a genre to test out as a demo, it's definitely an extraction game. But regardless, Arc Raiders is going to be bloody huge. What can I say? Let's see what we've got next because like we're about 30 minutes into the show and we have about 19 topics. Yep, that's how many we've got. You know what? We'll get this funny multiplayer topic out of the way because I've seen a lot of people lose the marbles today. So Battlefield 6 was announced a while ago. It's finally out. People are loving the game. And, well, what's the story to talk about? And I predicted this happening. I mean, a lot of people could have saw this coming. You don't have to be some Nostradamus. But basically, it came out today. All the skins people are going to unlock in the Battle Pass for Battlefield 6. And people are losing their marbles because people just assumed you were going to get super realistic military outfits in the Battle Pass for years and years to come. And it's like how many different shades of beige military outfits are there? I'm guessing there's not many. So, like, they have to go out of their way to give players a reason to buy the Battle Pass and work through them. So, the skins with, like, people wearing black military uniforms covered in, you know, paint blotches, things like that. The skull mask that's very similar to the ghost mask from Call of Duty Modern Warfare. And you've got stuff like that in the Battlefield 6 Battle Pass. So people are losing it because they've had literally 18 days of realistic Battlefield skins until now. And I thought it was hilarious because, like, really, like, Logan, you don't play multiplayer, you don't care, but, like, would you agree with me saying that, like, you know, Battlefield was clearly not going to survive years of just clear, super realistic multiplayer military skins?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like how many different pairs of khaki pants or green jackets or camouflage winter or jungle or I mean biome specific attire can you have? Or okay, this one has a US flag on it. This one has a British flag on it. I'm like, at some point, the differentiation gets negligible. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah,
So clearly, they had to do something. Like either you go in a really fun direction, like crazy direction, and like you start doing the Beavis or the like insane stuff that makes no sense whatsoever, or you can go semi-realistic and go, okay, what are some characters in gaming that I could see theoretically with an assault rifle running around on a battlefield or this or that, and then you can kind of lean into fun but not like immersion breaking. So it'll be interesting to see how they balance that.
yeah. I mean, look, as someone that was big into Battlefield 3 back in the day, you didn't really have skins. You picked a class, and that was it. And the whole skin thing, it's only really been big on console for like a decade. So like people have been put in this situation now where Battlefield's huge again, and they are looking at these skins that don't suit the environment. But like it was always going to happen, right? All these people that complained on social media about uh unrealistic skins in Call of Duty, those same people that had no intention of playing Call of Duty are now getting slightly more entertaining skins in Battlefield. It was inevitable. In fact, if you fast forward a year from now, I bet you're going to see N7 armor in there, which will probably get me on board for the game. You'll see things like Dead Space armor in there. It's going to happen because whereas you have Call of Duty that comes out yearly with a campaign, multiplayer, zombies, battle royale, like this Battlefield game is meant to last 3 years, right? So what's going to support that game for 3 years? Skins. And I hate microtransactions, by the way. If that's not clear enough, I hate the idea of skins. I've never bought a single skin to date, and like even I know like that's how that game's going to be supported. That's how Fall Guys is supported. That's how Call of Duty long term is supported when it comes to its multiplayer. People buying skins. It's the unfortunate world we live in. But if you went back to Shocker and bringing back the seventh generation, like we didn't have skins then because we were buying map packs. It did split the player base, but like if I remember correctly, I think it was one of the Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 map packs. Like apparently that sold a million, like a million copies or whatever you want to call it. Like that's a million people going out there buying a map pack back then when nobody was buying DLC that much in the multiplayer space. So like, we'll see what happens. But yeah, this is essentially the first Battlefield, to come out in the era where skins have been big, right? Because Battlefield 5 didn't have skins, not like that. Battlefield 1, my God, Battlefield 1, it played so good. It looked so good. But there weren't really skins for that. There wasn't even a battle pass. But now, you have to fight in the multiplayer space. It's one of the reasons why it maybe put me off from playing multiplayer, because it feels like you're going out of the limb to. You have to buy stuff. Like there's games that are blatantly pay to win. Grand Theft Auto Online is pay to win now. But with this, it's just cosmetic stuff. And the funny thing is, you play these games in first person. I've always found that funny, by the way. These games we play in first person get skins that people really care about. Should we really care what our hands look like? Who knows? But yeah, just thought I'd mention that quickly because yeah, I've seen a lot of people blame Fortnite over the past 6? Oh no, about 8 years, 9 years. Yeah, Fallout is the reason. Not Fallout. I'm all over the place today. That's what happens when we have a podcast on a Wednesday. Fortnite has done irreputable. We'll go with that. Damage to the multiplayer landscape. Hell, not even multiplayer. Like, we've seen battle passes in single player games, right? If Fortnite didn't happen, I 100% believe that the gaming landscape would look very different, because that was the game that got people to, you had all these newcomers into the gaming space playing free to play games, right? Whereas before, they would pick up and buy a Call of Duty or whatever. But, like, Logan, I think you'd agree with that. Like, Fortnite, as good as Fortnite is, it clearly did damage.
Yeah, I mean, Fortnite is the poster child for the black hole game like movement, and like the whole like we're not just a game, we're a platform. Like, frankly, they even interfered with Star Wars of all things, for crying out loud. Like, you announce a major plot twist
Oh,
in
yeah.
a Fortnite thing. I'm like, are you serious? Really? We're having concerts there and all this other stuff. Like, I remember when Fortnite was first announced, I'm like, oh, that looks goofy. I was like, that's not something I'll touch, but it'll probably be just a quick one and done and nothing will happen. Boy, was I wrong on that. Like, I misread the market big time. But it is, I don't know. I'm not I'm not a Fortnite guy, but I know a lot of people love it and clearly enjoy it, and I'm happy for them, and I'm glad they find enjoyment and something to share with their friends and stuff. But I do think the overwhelming presence of Fortnite has led to irreparable change to the industry, both creatively and consumption wise.
Yeah. Man, it is crazy to think that a Fortnite, a free to play game, ruined a Star Wars film. Like, what the hell? Um, like, of all
He
things.
somehow returned. Oh, you would know if you played Fortnite. I'm like,
Yeah.
are you serious? Whatever.
Like, the thing is, in the past, like, there have been toys that have kind of leaked plot points, but the whole toy thing, that's been
Hmm.
happening since before I was born. Toys aimed at these movies that were aimed at adults would spoil movies. It's happened since the dawn of time, but for Fortnite to do it, and honestly, I hate the concept of a battle pass. And I play and finish a battle pass. I do the Call of Duty battle pass, but I got it for free with Microsoft points, right? Um, but yeah, battle passes, Fortnite, like, oof. Like, if you go back in time, right, and if Fortnite didn't turn it, because remember, people don't know this, Fortnite originally started out as a co-op zombie game, right? It was a co-op zombie
Man, what
game,
a world.
yeah, where you had to build this fort to survive the night. Wink, wink, hint, hint. And you would go out during the day, scavenge materials, and build your fort for these zombies, right? But, like, PUBG happened, and then in 2017, Epic were like, no, we are getting on this. And then they became the de facto battle royale game, and then they came out with this nifty new thing called a battle pass. Blew people's minds. Um, my God, like, imagine the gaming landscape if that didn't happen. We'd probably be better off,
Yeah,
actually.
I
Like,
think in a lot of areas, yes, but in some, no.
yeah, I mean, look, am I looking for a scapegoat? Maybe. Do I like to complain about multiplayer practices? Any time of the day. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about it quickly because, like, Battlefield, like, look, Battlefield's been in a rough shape for a long time. But, like, Battlefield 1 back in 2016, I think it was, like, super fun game, bloody gorgeous, but nobody was playing it after a year. Same with Battlefield 5. Battlefield 5 was gorgeous, didn't really get much support. Then you had Battlefield 2042, which we all saw what happened there. Don't need to tread that again. But yeah, and man, by the way, if EA announced tomorrow, hey, we're putting out a remaster of Battlefield 3, I would buy that in a bloody heartbeat because that was top tier multiplayer. It was fair and it was just a good game. And I will defend that game's campaign always. Anyway, let's move on. Let's see what we've got next. Okay, let's get into the Ubisoft stuff because we have a bunch of Ubisoft stuff this week and I'm probably going to pop off. So, Massive Entertainment put out this... I don't even know what to call it. Can we call it egregious? They put out this awful post today. That was like, if you're listening right
Oh,
now, yeah.
Opportunities thing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So for people that don't know, Massive Entertainment, the developers of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, Star Wars Outlaws, and The Division, they put out this ominous post today. It was a still image with a bunch of text on it. Now, if you're a gamer, you know for a fact that if you see a still image on Twitter with a bunch of text on it by a developer, it either means a game is getting delayed, a game is being cancelled, or people are getting let go. And they didn't actually say any of these things. They just said, look, we're looking forward to continuing development on the Division and other games, and also looking for career opportunities for people. Right? So they announced something without announcing anything. Basically, long story short, they're going to let people go. Like, it was a very bad way of wording it because it looks like they don't want to get any blowback. Which is crazy. You know, The Division is a super profitable game. It makes a lot of money. A lot of people buy The Division all the time, right? The Division 2, even The Division 1, pop up in the top paid game section on Xbox in the UK. Just willy-nilly. People still buy those games. Even though they don't get, like, big expansions all the time. Not all the time, anyway. You know, Star Wars Outlaws had a rough time out of the gate, but I will defend that game. I think that game is super fun. It is... Like, if you want an open world Star Wars game, you have to play it. Like, Logan, did you get around to play that yet? Oh, I think Logan's cut out. Yeah, Logan, if you can't, just hop back into the Discord. We'll get this going again. It has issues. But like Star Wars Outlaws.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry.
Oh,
That was
don't worry about it. It happens. But like, what was your thoughts on like? Did you get to play Star Wars Outlaws yet?
I have not, but I was waiting until they fixed a bunch of stuff and like basically the issues I had heard about and was concerned about have been addressed now and all the content's come out. So I'm excited to dive in. It looks really cool and I love the idea of it. So I'm excited to play it. And yeah, I thought that was a real wuss move
Yeah.
to try to, pedal off layoffs hidden as, a a footnote in a post about like, oh, hey, we've got this project going and this project going and oh yeah, by the way, we're kicking these guys out. Could you all like give them a hand? Like I mean, it just I don't know. It's like in sports when they let the coach quote retire at the end of the season
Oh yeah.
so he can save face instead of like you're fired. It just sounds better, but everybody knows what's happening. It yeah, that was just gross. Like they should know better than that. And honestly, I think they'll get more blowback by trying to sugarcoat it
Yep.
and spin it than they would for saying, "Yeah, we're unfortunately having layoffs."
Yeah. I mean, if they announce layoffs the way most of the developers do, they can let other studios know that hey, we're letting people go. Let's see if you've got any like open opportunities. But they didn't do that, right? It was like such a weird way of doing it, and it was so cryptic. And the thing is, right? They are what 2 months away from coming out with the Avatar Frontiers of Pandora third-person mode, right? If you look at any of Avatar Frontiers of Pandora's social media posts, look at the amount of likes and views, and then look at the amount of likes and views compared to when they announced the third-person mode. Night and bloody day. By the way, it doesn't help that Ubisoft didn't market the game, which I will always complain about. They didn't market their huge Avatar game. Um, but that third person mode has made people go, wait a minute, what's this game again? And guess what? They put out a trailer 2 days ago, showing off new gameplay because they've had to redo a ton of anime. Like I played that game. I know which animations they needed to redo. Because in a lot of first person games, you're just this floating camera, But in that game, you actually have a body. But if you look down when you do a bunch of actions, such as like climbing ledges, mounting on top of an animal, that type of thing, the animations look weird, but you're not meant to be looking down when you do it. But for third person, they've had to redo all that stuff, and it looks phenomenal. And I'm not one to take a step back from a game if it's at first person or third person. Like if it's a good game, I don't really care. But when that game was first announced, I just thought, like, wouldn't it be cool to see your Navi character, which you created? Like, would it be cool to play as them in this beautiful open world? And it being a Ubisoft game, I thought it was going to be open world anyway, since it had lots of climbing and parkour. Well, not parkour, but lots of climbing and platforming. And the game came out after the film, and they didn't market it, and they didn't even talk about sales figures, right? It never even came out that it was disappointing. They just didn't mention it. And them announcing the third person mode a couple of months ago got people genuinely excited. And they announced that there's a brand new expansion coming out in December that's set after the new film. So, like, for this new expansion, it looks like they're going to treat it as a relaunch, which is great. Really great. But, like, it is a shame it took a third person mode to get people's attention, but I'll blame Ubisoft for not actually marketing the game. Like, if you play Assassin's Creed or Far Cry, like in the UK at least, like you will see posters on the sides of buses, bus stops, train stations, whatever. For Avatar, there was nothing. No posters, no trailer. I never even saw trailers on YouTube as ads, right? Which was shocking because I love Avatar. I love those movies. But like it didn't get the treatment it deserved. But hey, it's going to have a new launch. The new expansion, I'm sure, is going to be great. Apparently, it's going to completely change the main world's map. But like, there's a lot of content there, and by the way, it's on sale all the time, including the like. Logan, you did pick up the version with the DLC, right? Pretty cheap.
Yeah, I got the ultimate like whatever like
Yeah,
$120 version for like 45. So I'm excited for the third person mode. I've been holding out waiting for it. So
yeah. I mean, that if you include both expansions, you're looking at like 100 hours of good content there. And I'm like lowballing it there, right? You've got like a lot of good content there. Um,
I had
like
a question about the game now that you mentioned something earlier.
yeah.
You said the Navi you created. So does that mean it's not like a character that just exists and you assume the role of this character? It's like you're a build your own Navi character. Like what exactly is the plot line? I haven't played it yet, so.
So yeah, again, it doesn't help that Ubisoft didn't market it. Like nobody knows the plot of that game. Um,
I
basically,
know blue people and mechs. That's it.
yeah, yeah, they didn't really do themselves any favors. So like after the events of the first film, the RDA, I think that's what he called them. Whatever the human government, were experimenting on Navi and wanting to train them as soldiers. And you play as one of those Navi that escapes this lab. But you do kind of design your character. You do play as basically if you play as a male or female, you pick whichever one you want, and you do like tinker your what your character looks like a little bit. So it's not like a full on character creator, but you can change some things. Um, but like the story's really cool. It does have this Far Cry aspect of the game where you know you get set out and you do things in first person and the cutscenes are in first person. But it looks like with the new update, they're gonna have to go in and give cutscenes more of a cinematic look, which I think's great. Um, but yeah, I will talk about that game day and night because look, it's a fun game. It's a shame because Ubisoft, my God, Ubisoft have the ability to make some really cool games, and they just don't market some of them. Right? I talk about Assassin's Creed Mirage. If people are interested, it's in Game Pass Ultimate right now. That's getting a free expansion next month, and Ubisoft, at least in the UK, didn't market Mirage that much. Thankfully, it sold well, and it's getting free content. But I think that Ubisoft, like them doing the layoffs this way with the studio, like Avatar's going to print money in December. I'd be shocked if Avatar doesn't make money in December because one, people now know the game exists. It's launching alongside the movie, not afterwards. And they're coming out with a new bundle, which I'm sure will sell well. Like, if Massive Entertainment are getting layoffs before the release, that feels pretty shady because whereas I think the new Division expansion is already released, Star Wars Outlaws has had its updates. Like, Avatar has the ability to be a massive selling game this holiday, especially it's coming out alongside the movie, right? A lot of people are going to buy that game. I'd assume they're going to do a co-op marketing campaign where say the movie, maybe get a discount for the game, which I've seen some other films do in the past. But hey, I'm happy to see more people interested. And the third person mode does look really good. Even when you use the bow and arrow in that game, like the third person mode kind of makes a lot more sense. The way you can rip people out of the mech suits looks way better in third person than first person. But hey, it's going to get more attention. And I think the third person mode comes out on December 5th, and the expansion, if I remember correctly, comes out on the 17th of December. I'll have to double check. But hey, good time for Avatar fans and the new film. By the way, I'm refusing to watch any trailer regarding that new film. I've talked to Logan about this. I don't watch movie trailers anymore. Movie trailers, I think, show way too much. And if you're excited for a film, do you really need to watch a trailer? Do you really? Maybe I'm being a bit of a nerd or whatever, but hey, I don't care. Like Dune Part
No,
3.
I'd agree. I'd say sometimes trailers completely like take the best of the film, like literally the best of the film, and put it in the trailer. And then you go in expecting one thing, and then it's like, what a hunk of junk. Like this isn't anything like what it was advertised. So yeah, trailers are very hit or miss.
Yeah. I mean, look, bit of a side tangent from the Avatar game topic, but look, I loved that first Dune movie,
Hmm.
and I didn't watch the trailer for the sequel. So I went into this 2 hour, 45-minute sci fi masterpiece without seeing anything. And I enjoyed it. I'm guessing I enjoyed it more than I would have otherwise. I saw Top Gun Maverick without seeing any of the main trailers. In fact, I saw the teaser trailer for that movie, and the teaser trailer has nothing to do with the film. So, I think if people are excited for stuff like movies and that, I honestly say don't watch the trailer. Like, if it's a new Marvel movie, do you really need to know the cameos beforehand? I'm saying no. Logan, can you imagine how big of Avengers Doomsday would have been if you didn't know the X-Men were going to be in it?
It would have been like gob-stopping insanity.
Yeah. And by the way, it's one of the reasons why I don't talk about comic book movies on social media. It's because we have to know everything beforehand. Or look, Henry Cavill's in Deadpool and Wolverine. Thank you for ruining Christmas. Why does everyone have to ruin everything regarding comic book movies? This could be a topic for another day, but I could rant.
I mean, Marvel, Star Wars, everything gets ruined.
Yeah,
Almost everything.
and I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Like, yeah, I won't mention any more Doomsday spoilers, but like, I just hate the fact that we aren't allowed to enjoy anything. You know, I will say this, and I'll say it again. I think one of the best trailers of all time is actually the trailer for Superman Returns. That film is not perfect, but that trailer, it shows you a bunch of cool stuff without telling you anything. And I miss when game trailers, I miss when movie trailers, TV show trailers, like, look, Stranger Things final season comes out this year. Do I need to see the trailer? Not really. I love the first 4 seasons. I'm good. Let's get back into the games. You know what? I can have my Splinter Cell right now. So, since the dawn of time, I've been a fan of Splinter Cell. And, you know, one of the things that blew my mind back on the original Xbox as a kid was that in the tutorial, when it's teaching you how to crouch, climb, all this stuff, you're asked to walk over this sort of metal walkway, and it's covered in broken glass. And when you walk over the broken glass, the game sound changes to a person walking over glass. And that blew my mind as a kid. Right? And enemies could hear you walk on broken glass. And I'm like, this is amazing. This is like next level immersion. And I was obsessed with Splinter Cell after that moment. And the first Splinter Cell game, it's a great game. It's just not a long game, but it didn't need to be a long game. It's just a very great crafted stealth game. Anyway, fast forward to 2021, and the Splinter Cell remake is announced. Nerds like myself celebrating worldwide because at this point we hadn't had a Splinter Cell game for 8 years. My God. Such a long time. And, you know, people are excited because, like, why wouldn't you be excited about a Splinter Cell remake? Why not? Because, hey, a lot of people have been fans for that game. It's been so long since we've had a Splinter Cell game, so surely a Splinter Cell remake would do pretty good. Well, here we are, years later, and we still have seen zip. We've seen nothing. Actually, no, before I continue with the topic, we're about an hour in. I'll do my little ad now. If you're enjoying the show, please hit like, share, and subscribe. It really does help the channel grow and the podcast grow. If you want to support the channel with super chats, I'll read anything out. It's greatly appreciated, and it all goes back into the channel. Anyway, Splinter Cell, the remake. In the past 3 or 4 years, we've had, I'm not even kidding, 4 pieces of concept art. That's it. Concept art for a remake of a game we've played. And as someone that played Splinter Cell, I can tell you that it shouldn't take this long to make Splinter Cell remake because it's not a big game. It's not like they're having to craft this huge photorealistic open world because Splinter Cell's maps are fairly small, but it works for that reason. You know, you have these small maps with multiple routes getting through, get from point A to point B, accomplish mission, super quiet. And in 2022, the creative director left the game. And in 2025, a couple of days ago, they are now hiring for a new game director, which it doesn't look good for the game at all. Now I can't corroborate the next thing I'm about to say in any way, but I'll take it with a pinch of salt. A developer apparently said that the reason why the Splinter Cell remake is taking this long is because the creative director and the director of the game want to make something really good, but apparently Ubisoft won't let them. I assume that has something to do with the fact that it is Splinter Cell is a short game that you can't monetize in an egregious way. Like, you can't put out a game like that and have map packs. You can't have DLC for a remake of a game like that. Like, how do you do skins in a Splinter Cell game? And honestly, that would kind of make sense. You know, Ubisoft, I like a lot of their games, but they can't. I honestly don't think they can make a linear experience anymore. And a lot of their games used to be linear. You know, Ghost Recon used to be a linear franchise. Rainbow Six, I used to love Rainbow Six Vegas. linear game, right? Most of their games were linear, and now I just don't think they're capable of it. And then you have Ubisoft today, and this official Splinter Cell Twitter account post a 4K image. By the way, this 4K image, I checked, I couldn't see any original source for this image, so they clearly made this new 4K render of, I think Pandora tomorrow is coming to Ubisoft PC or whatever for the first time, which is cool. But, man, it's been years. It's been over a decade since anything Splinter Cell, and at this rate, I think that this game, it's either like 3 or 4 years away, or it's not coming out at all. This is where you hear my heart cracking too, because I adore that franchise. But man, if you're a fan of Splinter Cell, we've had nothing, and I'm not including skins for mobile games. I'm not including the free missions for Ghost Recon or the animated show that just came out, which I refuse to watch, but I know for a fact I'm going to cave this weekend anyway. It's such a hard time being a Splinter Cell fan because we've had nothing. Absolutely nothing. Logan, I've been rambling. What's your take, man? Because clearly we'll just say triggered. I'm clearly triggered by all this. Like, I'm so annoyed, but like, nothing's happening with this franchise.
Yeah, I mean, they've got an anime, which is great, but like nothing like game wise is a huge bummer that we're approaching a decade basically, or we might be past a decade at this point. Was it 2011 or 13 that
2013.
Blacklist came out?
So
Okay,
12
so
years.
yeah, 12 years. We're approaching 12 years without a Splinter Cell game, and I, I just I think Ubisoft has too many chefs in the kitchen sometimes, where there's so many different creative directors and stuff, and then keep changing plans, on the drop of a hat, and then drama behind the scenes, funding issues, all kinds of stuff has just made it a very messy situation and a hard place to get a focused product out the door. So I hope they get Splinter Cell right, but I do agree that it is concerning that a quote remake of an OG Xbox game, era game, is proving to be this difficult. Like, I understand if it's like a systematic, like we talked about last time with a hypothetical what you and I would do for a Knights of the Old Republic remake, like make it where it has like full scale like Jedi Survivor type combat and exploration and stuff mixed with the RPG storytelling and world and lore and exploration and stuff of Knights of the Old Republic. Like we that would take some time. Like that's a dramatic remake. It like because you go from dice roll combat and stuff like that to, the Perry Souls Eskian, actiony combat, which is dramatic. It's like way, way leagues different. So unless they're going for something that dramatic of a revision to and remake to, if this is just a straight up, we need to make Sam Fisher and the vents look prettier, get them out the door, then this should have been done years ago. So either this is a way more ambitious project than anybody's been led on to believe, or they're just plucking around with it. I mean, to be honest, it kind of just seems that way.
Yeah, I just checked how long on average it takes to beat Splinter Cell, the original. It says in here it takes about. Actually, let me see. I'll bring this up again. Okay, Splinter Cell on average takes 12 and a half hours to finish the main story. If you want to do everything, and if I remember correctly, there's collectibles. It takes 16 hours to 100% the game. So, like, realistically, can I see Ubisoft putting out a 17, 16-hour game for $70 that has no external monetization? I can't see that happening. I'd love to be wrong.
Not
And,
in today's world.
yeah, and honestly, if they came out with that game, they can't charge $70 for it.
It'd be 40.
Yeah, like if they do 40, do the Assassin's Creed Mirage pricing, I think they'd be fine with it. But yeah, just being a Splinter Cell fan, man, it's just constant. Like there's constant rumors. Like I even got curious the other day to say like when did these rumors start for the remake in general? Like I found old posts by me on Twitter going back to like 2017 of new Splinter Cell rumors. Oh, he had no idea. Past me, right? Thinking he'd have a Splinter Cell game by now. Poor old Jamie. Back in 2017, had no idea. Well, here we are in 2025, almost 2026. No Splinter Cell in sight, and we'll be lucky to get one by the end of the decade. Sad times.
At least we have Prince of Persia, right?
Yeah. Oh my god. How many times has that been rebooted? Is it 3 now?
4? Has it
Yeah.
been 4 times? 3 or 4 times? Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Like the amount of times they announced the Splinter, not Splinter Cell. They announced the Prince of Persia remake. I want to say in 2019. They showed it off, and everyone unanimously was like, "Why does the original look better?" Like, come on. And then it changed studios. Then it changed studios again. It probably done it several other times since then. But like, it feels like every time we get a Ubisoft showcase, we're just gonna get like a slow animated video of a lamp of them just confirming the remake exists. And honestly, I think that Ubisoft, they are clinging on to Prince of Persia because they want that to be their parkour action franchise, because Assassin's Creed isn't really like that anymore. It's an open world action RPG. But like Splinter Cell clearly has, I don't want to say no effort, but like there's not as much focus, because look, Assassin's Creed, it's going to print money every single time they put a game out. Apparently Ubisoft are developing another Star Wars game, which I want to see another Ubisoft game made, another Star Wars game made by them. But we'll see what happens, because my God, it's 2025, like 12 years, and do you know what's insult to injury? When Ghost Recon Wildlands came out in 2015, I think, like when that game came out, it had a Splinter Cell mission in it with Sam Fisher. And there's a famous line where he's like, "Oh, it's only him," when it comes to like people that still stealth around and stuff. And it was a nod to Metal Gear Solid, how Metal Gear Solid had ended as a franchise. Like the audacity, right? The fact that he said that line, and in the meantime, Metal Gear Solid has came back, right? So I wouldn't say made fun, but they had a nod at Metal Gear Solid for ending the franchise at that point with Metal Gear Solid 5, to saying he's the only stealth-related character left, to not coming out with a game in 12 years. At least Konami are trying, right? They pop out the, Master Collection Volume 1. They give it a bunch of updates. You can play it in full 4K 60 now, which is great. They come out with the remake, which everyone loves. It's getting a free multiplayer mode this year as well. Metal Gear Online's coming back. And like Konami, they put this huge focus on Silent Hill, where there's multiple Silent Hill games in development right now. There's a movie coming out. And like Konami are doing more for Metal Gear Solid than Ubisoft is for Splinter Cell. I feel like I've just been slapped in the face. It's insulting. Anyway, we'll change topics now because my blood's boiling. You know what? Speaking of Metal Gear Solid, the franchise that clearly the developers care about, it turns out that Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2 was kind of confirmed at Tokyo Game Show. It was in a recent interview that went live, And yeah, they basically confirmed it. So what do you have in Metal Gear Solid Master Collection Volume 2? You'd obviously have Peace Walker. I assume Metal Gear Solid 5. But the big one, it's obviously going to be Metal Gear Solid 4. That game has been...
Sons of the Patriot.
yeah,
Yes.
that gun's been stuck on PlayStation 3 for years. And, people have been wanting that to come to PC for a long time. It technically is on PC, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink. You could play that game in 8K on PC if you want. But, it's been stranded on console for the longest time. And it looks like it's finally going to be included. Metal Gear Solid 4 was mentioned in the website source code for the Master Collection. So, yeah, it's happening. They just need to come out and announce it. I assume that they're going to let the remake of 3 do its sales period for a couple of more months, and then they'll announce the new Master Collection. But hey, as a fan of Metal Gear Solid 4, and I will defend that game, even though it has literally 9.5 hours of cutscenes. Absurd amount of... the end cutscene, I think, is 90 minutes long, if I remember correctly. I'm not even joking. You can put down your controller in 90 minutes pass. It might be even closer to 2 hours. You have a full feature-length movie as an end cutscene. Crazy. But I love that game regardless. Logan, you've never gotten to play Metal Gear Solid 4, right?
That is correct. I am. Well, take it back. I did play a few minutes of it one time when my brother was over when we were young, and I played on his PS3. But it's one that has eluded me for a long time, and I would really, really like a chance to actually play through it.
Yeah, and it looks like it's coming. My little prediction, it's going to be announced in March. But hey, it's good to know that, Konami for the longest time, people thought they were kind of done with games, and they're going full steam ahead with Metal Gear Solid, Silent Hill. And there's been a rumor for a couple of months now, and I believe it, that Castlevania is getting a big AAA, big budget game announced this year. I assume that's going to
There's
be...
something that happened. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, continue. It's all right.
I was gonna say something happened today that makes me think that's even more likely now. Um, Vampire Survivors. You remember they had a Castlevania expansion a while back?
Oh, yeah.
Today they just added a whole nother basically expansion size update to that expansion with everybody from Castlevania and making a big deal about it and their partnership with Konami and stuff. And it just, I don't know, the tea leaves and everything are lining up to where I really do think Castlevania is about to pop back pretty soon.
I mean, yeah, that kind of would make sense. You know what? I still would like Konami to come out with a proper HD collection of Silent Hill. Include the first game. I know they may have lost the source code or something, or was that one of the 2 or 3 which had the bad port? But
It was I think it was Silent Hill 2 if I'm not mistaken. No, it was yeah, it was 2 I think with the Comic
oh yeah,
Sans
yeah.
side.
My God, that isn't creepy at all. You're walking through this really heavy mist, can't see anything ahead, and then you just see Comic Sans font Silent Hill. I don't know
It's
what they were
so funny.
yeah, I don't know what they were thinking
Yeah.
with that. Oh, this is really gonna scare people. Yeah, Comic Sans is scary, but for a completely different reason. Because my God, that is hilarious. But yeah, Konami, at least they're moving the needle with their games. And look, Konami in Japan, they are known for pachinko, vitamin water, and gyms. So the fact that they're putting money back into video games, they're training up a new team. The reason these Metal Gear remakes are happening is because they have a team that are basically training to make new Metal Gear games. So you love to see it, Konami back at it again with the AAA games, and hopefully more collections. Anyway, let's see what else we've got left. My God, we've still got 10 topics. Okay, I've already talked about Escape from Tarkov coming to console. There was literally no news other than that, by the way. They just said it's coming to console. I assume that's going to take it's going to take a while. So it looks like new Halo games are going to be announced fairly soon because the Halo Championships is that tomorrow, Logan?
I know it's this week. I can't remember if it was the 23rd or 4th, but I know it's this week.
Yeah, so it looks like we're going to see new Halo games announced. And look, I loved Halo Infinite. I will die on this hill. I think that I don't think I know I want a Halo Infinite 2, right? I want to see where that story goes. I want to see a full on battle with Atriox. Like, that world is ripe for the picking. But, this Halo remake is apparently going to be announced this week, as well as and this is where people roll their eyes, a Fortnite centric, a Fortnite style ongoing multiplayer game. So, like, take from that what you will. But yeah, it looks like Halo is going to be getting some big announcements this week. Now, look, I've talked about this before. I loved Halo Combat Evolved. I will play whatever this remake is. Apparently we'll have sprint and all that stuff. I just want new Halo games. I don't really care what form they take in. Actually, that was a lie. I want single player Halo games. I don't really care about multiplayer anymore. But it looks like we've seen some announcements this week. Like, Logan, what do you think? Because I know you don't really do multiplayer that much, but the Halo stuff we could be seeing could be single player related.
Yeah, Halo is one of the few I will still dabble in multiplayer wise because I just have such a fondness and nostalgia, and
Yeah.
frankly, I was good at it. And it's been a while since I've played the multiplayer. I don't know, I kind of got burnt out on it. It just when it content was stagnant for such a long time, and there's all this drama about will they, won't they on stuff, and I was just holding out for actual campaign expansion, which we were not so subtly led to believe was coming and just didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't call it Halo Infinite and your enemy the Endless, and then have them end and have the game be finished. It's a bad look. So I'm excited for the games, whatever they end up being. Like, it's Halo, so I'll give it its fair shake, even if it's a Fortnite abomination thing. I will give it a chance since it's Halo and I love it so much. Who knows? Maybe I'll love it. But the campaign remake of the first one has my attention because unlike the Gears Reloaded, which was basically just a little nice touch of paint and frames for basically a remake of the first one, but for the Xbox One, and then this one's for the Series XS and PS5 and whatnot. Like this one, like the last time they retouched it was 360 era, which is a good bit ago. So I could see like a full fledged massive remake on it, especially since they're switching engines, which is a whole dramatic different change of feel and game experience. So I'm excited. I am hashtag Team Sprint. I am firmly believe that you are a super soldier. You are not made of concrete. You should be able to run. It's what you do. So I'm excited for it, and we'll see. We'll see what the other games are. Like, I'm not gonna lie and say that some of the stuff behind the scenes that's been coming out and some other stuff is a bit concerning and discouraging, especially when you thought the mass purge at 343 would have led to some better environment. But, again, it's just a person or two's opinion on things that are happening. Who knows how entirely accurate they are for the rest of folks? Or if there was a purpose maybe behind things one way or another. Who knows? Allegedly, it just It it's just a bit dampening on the excitement, but I'm still looking forward to seeing what they announce.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. But like, look, I'm gonna play the Halo remake, whatever it is. I just think like you have a universe that big. Like, where's Halo Wars 3? Why can't you do anything like that? Why aren't there any like like my dream is like I want a weighty third person shooter RPG where you play as Buck, like when he becomes a Spartan, like just like anything. The Halo universe is like so rich with lore, and it's like we get what one game a decade. Like that's a shame. I know games take forever to develop now, but I just want to see more happen. You know, like you could do any genre in that universe. Like Logan, you remember this? Like there was a piece of fake art that was rolling around in 2015 of a Halo Gravemind.
Yes, I want a Halo Flood horror game. If you made a Resident Evil style game in like the Halo universe is like some ODST or like some Oni operative or somebody who's got military or combat experience but is not 7 foot tall metal human being like indestructible and has real weight and consequence, and you're fighting these mind flaying parasites, shapeshifter stuff. It would be like the thing or but in Halo, and it would just be incredible. So I just there's so much they can do with Halo, and honestly, it's not a hot take at this point. It's just it kind of is what it is. Halo is one of the single most mismanaged franchises in gaming. Period. It's a colossal shame what used to be an S tier, day one midnight release, all the crazy rumors, all the parties, everything for a franchise has devolved, pun intended, into what it is now. It's just, I hope it gets back on track, but it's a lot of hopium huffing at this point.
Yeah, I mean, look, 343, or should I say Halo Studios, they just need good leadership and have a solid vision. And I think one of the reasons why 343, I keep saying, I'm so used to saying 343, but one of the reasons why that studio, they've had so many issues over the years, is that I think I don't want to say they listen to fan feedback too much, but like it's almost as if they are afraid to make their own vision of what Halo can be, because they come out with Halo 4, they listen to a lot of feedback, they change things in the multiplayer, they change things in the campaign, and then when that game come out, Halo 5, they clearly listened to the feedback with that because they changed everything up for Halo Infinite. And crazy to think that in between what Halo 4, yeah, in Halo 4 and Halo Infinite, we had three new Halo games over what 10 years, 9 years, right? So we had three new Halo games in 9 years, right? That seems like not many compared to like Halo 2, 3, ODST, and Reach. And I'll throw Halo Wars in there as well. Like it didn't seem like we were waiting super long between Halo releases, but now like you have like 5+ years. But hey, I'm sure the remake will be good. I'm sure people will lose their marbles over Sprint. Um, I've mentioned this before, and I'll mention it again. How come Master Chief can sprint in cutscenes in Halo 1 and 2, but not in the game? And people were okay with him sprinting in cutscenes. Why is it he can climb into a scorpion tank but can't climb a ledge? Like, I'm putting it out there. I don't think you can put out a traditional Halo style multiplayer now and people would play it, where you can't climb ledges, you can't sprint, that you play as a superhuman where you can walk at a brisk pace. like, like I might get hate for that. The thing is, I love those older Halo games, but I just don't think now those would really work that well. if I could be proven wrong, hey, how about this? It's not a multiplayer I'm going to play anyway. I'm done with multiplayer altogether. I like my little single player safe space. Anyway, we'll move on. Yeah, look, I think that 343, I keep calling them 343, Halo Studios, they just need to come up with a cool idea. What do they want Halo to be? And just make it. Stop thinking about these YouTubers that have complained about Sprint since 2000. When did Halo Reach come out? 2009? We'll say 2009. Like,
Oh gosh, that feels like an age
yeah,
ago.
it's a century ago, man. Like, they need to come out and just make a Halo game they want, right? And who knows? Maybe it'll be controversial with some gameplay mechanic, but like you've said before, Logan, like every time a new Doom game comes out, people don't lose their marbles over a gameplay mechanic. Like they put parrying in a bloody Doom game, and people liked it. And
I
so,
think it's the coolest thing ever,
yeah,
and just go, okay, I'll roll with it. Sure, why not?
yeah, and like the Halo, the Doom fan base were perfectly fine. Oh, what's this? You're putting a chainsaw on a shield. Nice. When can I play it? But like, I think Halo Studios, they're just way too reactionary. Just make a bloody Halo game. Make anything you want. I don't care. Do I play as Master Chief? Cool. Do I not play as Master Chief? Cool. I just don't care. Make something cool. That universe is massive. You have a whole library of books to pull lore from. You have everything. You have Halo Infinite, which was setting up a really cool sequel. Build on that too. You put in a grappling hook, which a lot of fans thought that's a really cool mechanic. Build on that, right? Put different kinds of vehicles in there, different kinds of enemies, right? I don't want to be getting old one day and playing Halo Combat Evolved for the 40th time. I just don't. I think that franchise can evolve. You know, the first person shooter, genre has evolved so much over the years. Like, why can't you do something a little bit different? I don't know. Let's see.
What if they don't even know what they want to do anymore? I mean, it seems like a whole bunch of mixed messaging coming from them.
I mean, you're right. You could be right, but I guess we'll never know. Um, if anyone from Halo Studios does listen to this, I just want to see them make a really cool game with new ideas that they wanted to make. I don't care about seeing, like, look, stepping out in that Halo ring on the original Xbox was mind blowing. There will never be a game moment like that ever again. I hope I'm wrong, but I think there'll never be a moment like that again. And that was a special moment. Do I need to relive that moment again? No, I already have. You know, Halo Anniversary, I thought was a really cool game. Granted, I referred to that game as a remake on Twitter once, and people lost their marbles. Right? It's like all I did was call it a remake, and technically it is if it's remade with different assets. Putting it out there. But regardless, whatever they make, I'll play. It's just I want something different. Anyway, I'll move on. You know what, Logan? We'll talk about this for a few seconds because I know you'll want to talk about it quickly. So the NFL has signed another deal with EA to carry over the exclusive licensing to 2030. Obviously, I don't play Madden. I don't even understand the sport. But Logan, I know in the US people have been wanting more competition in the American football space. It looks like that's not going to happen for a while, at least for licensed games.
Yeah, when for all the talk about monopolies and people being concerned about that, 2K has had a stranglehold on basketball, and EA has had a stranglehold on football, both college and professional with Madden. So it is what it is, but it's well received, and a lot of people like it. It's a ritual for people; they buy it every year. just like 2K for basketball and, the show for baseball. So unless there's a dramatic fall off in quality or somebody else comes up with some revolutionary idea to change up a pro football sport game, then I reckon things are just going to continue as is for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, do you know what's crazy? Right, because like FIFA is, oh, should I say EA Sports? I hate calling it EA Sports FC 25. Right, like that game
Yeah,
sells.
Timu FIFA, yeah.
Yeah. Oh my god. No, but everyone still. It's like Twitter. Everyone still calls it FIFA. Right. Don't care how many different executives say otherwise. We still call it FIFA. But like FIFA is a considerably like bigger game because it's it sells more and more markets. But like even for like football, you have like there's other football games you could buy with licensed teams, and EA maybe EA can't afford the exclusivity rights or something. But like I think in the US, like maybe 2K would get in on the American football thing again. But like it's weird that like nobody else in the US can make an NFL game other than EA. But yet FIFA, like anyone can come out with a football game basically in the UK and everywhere else and still use the team's names, merchandise and all that stuff. But yeah, just a bit weird. Um Hopefully there is more competition in the future because like I understand that if you're an American football fan, you want to see your teams, those players and stuff. But yeah, it's a bit of a shame. Um, Logan, isn't there meant to be a new 2K like American football game?
Um, Not that I've heard. That'd be news to me. I haven't. I know. EA, like I said, basically has a stranglehold on college football and professional football. So unless there's been a new development I'm unfamiliar with, then I don't think they're a 2K equivalent for football right now.
Yeah. Well, if anything changes, we'll talk about that next week. But anyway, now we have a big topic here because Logan got his ROG Xbox Ally X. Logan, you've had it for a couple of days now. What do you think about it? Because like it's been selling well. A lot of people have picked it up. A lot of people are really enjoying it. I know beforehand you were getting ready by buying some GOG games, because old games they don't go off. Um, like what do you think of it? Because you've had it a few days now.
Well, it it is. I'd say it's one of the best things since sliced bread. It's incredible.
Okay.
It it's downright just amazing. Like hat tip to Jason Ronald and the hardware team at Xbox and their engineers, the engineers and software team at Microsoft and the hardware team and software teams at ROG Asus and AMD. Like they all made like a dream team scenario kind of mo- um, mobile device. And you know what? This might be a crazy take, but I th- I call it an Xbox, and I say that because okay, listen to this logic and see if it plays for you, makes sense. Okay, does this thing have Xbox buttons? Yes. Does it play Xbox games? Yes. Was it advertised and made in part by Xbox? Yes. um, like all this stuff, and then they're future proofing it where you can carry this stuff forward, either play anywhere, will let you have PC stuff and Xbox stuff, and carry your library forward. And then they're already making hints about next gen's console basically being building off of this prototype essentially, where it's like the Wii U was the prototype for the Switch, but they just did an awful job with the Wii U. This is like if the Wii U was actually good and it was the prototype for the Switch. So imagine how good the Switch even it already was record breaking and everything, but like imagine if they had actually done a good job with the Wii U. Like this is Microsoft partnering to make a prototype device to gauge the market, gauge interest, and develop their next console that will be a hybrid. And it's even been said by Sarah Bond herself multiple times now that basically they're going for a hybrid approach for their next device. So yes, the people who say it's a PC are correct. The people who say it's an Xbox are also correct. It is both. It is Schrodinger's cat device. It is an Xbox and it is not an Xbox because it's also a PC. Like there are aspects of it that I play that it's like, okay, this I've got the Xbox UI, the Xbox full screen experience, and I it looks just like my Series X screen on my TV when I start it up and play it, like my Series X does. And then I install a game, I have achievements, go to store and it's very similar, maybe a little different than the way it runs on the Series X. And basically like from a Xbox experience, it is almost identical to the console version, just a little different. It like where the processes of an installation and stuff, like most of the games, like they'll install, but it'll say like, oh, needs to create a file for this or put group with this or that or whatever, and you're like, okay, sure. So it uses PC terminology and lingo
Yeah.
for some stuff, but essentially it's just like downloading your game and it's going to your game library or your apps or whatever, but it's using PC terminology but Xbox imagery and Xbox terminology with other things. And then like there are some games which are weird, like Desolation is one I mentioned earlier. Like for some reason that one doesn't play nice with some of the other games in the library, but it is a play anywhere title, but it's like no, I can't be installed as part of a group like your Xbox titles here, so you have to make me a separate app on the PC part, but I am one of your Xbox games that you own. And so there are some weird quirks like that for a few things. And then like I'll be honest, I'm not a like big PC guy in general where I know the ins and outs of all the coding and the different ways to manage GPU or like crazy settings, optimization, stuff like that. But for those people, like you can go all out and tweak all this stuff and make it custom for a bunch to make things work the way you want them to. But for somebody who just basically wants to play Xbox on the go or Xbox at home but on a Switch like device, this this is very streamlined, very accessible, and basically like it feels Xbox on the go or Xbox on the couch on a portable device compared to a Series X. Like honestly, it's what I would want a mobile Xbox to be. It is a mobile Xbox to me. It just also has ROG in the name because it was partnered with them and it technically uses PC aspects and some systems and stuff to get around some stuff, but also uses Xbox stuff. So it long story short, it is a hybrid and I absolutely love it. I've been playing indie games, I've been playing AAA games on it. They all run really, really good. There are some games that won't work on it unless you do a whole bunch of finagling with settings and stuff.
Yeah.
If you want to make them work, you can make them work. Like you can connect a keyboard and mouse to it and get something to work on it. Or if you change like aspect ratios or frames accessibility, or you change like shaders or screen size or whatnot, like you can you can basically duct tape together a version that'll work of some games if you want to. But like the optimized games or mostly optimized games, like it's just like playing it on my TV. It's really fun and good. Except like there are some games like you remember when Dead Rising came out on 360, and like if you played it on a standard TV compared to an HD TV, the font was like really microscopic and
Oh yeah.
small. Um like there are some games like that's a common issue I've seen to where it's like dad gum, it's like they're writing in Sanskrit for some of this stuff because it's like microscopic text. Like you can alter those most of the time in the games, like put them on giant font to make it look normal on this. Like there are a few like tweaks you do for a few games. But for the most part, like everything from classic indies to classic 360 era games to modern AAA games, I've had wonderful time with. Like I've been playing Chronos New Dawn New Game Plus on it, and it runs flawlessly. It is like so crisp and so good. And in fact, shout to Bloober. A bunch of their games are Play Anywhere and also are optimized for the handheld device to where they work like day one S tier on the device, which is awesome. And then, Final Fantasy 16 apparently is one of the best optimized games for it. I look forward to playing it on my Ally X. I've played Saboteur
Oh
because,
nice.
you know, funny enough, apparently it was included in the EA add-on for Game Pass if you had PC elements, which you do if you have Ultimate. So I had it on GOG, but when I found out I could play it from EA's library and get the Xbox achievements for it via PC from EA, I was like, heck yeah, I'll do that.
Oh
That
lovely.
runs so good on the Ally X. It's crazy. And I'm like, you know what? If this is what it takes to get backwards compatibility on some of these things, so be it. If it has to be some PC quote unquote thing loophole to get a game to run on an Xbox device where it's like, well, technically it's a PC game, but it's an Xbox game and buttons and experience, then you know what? I'm cool with it. All in all, long winded answer, but my review is it's 100% worth the money I paid for it, even though that's more than frankly I wanted to pay for it.
Yeah.
But um, I was hoping, frankly, it'd be 800 something in there, but that was obviously wishful thinking. I paid for it, and it's been worth every penny. I absolutely love it. I adore it. I'm super excited for the future of Play Anywhere, and hopefully this allows us to get Singularity and Quakes and maybe those Marvel Transformer games. Some of these games that are in legal hell or licensing nightmares where technically you can't get it one way but you can still get it this way and
Yeah.
play it through an Xbox experience, then you know what, I embrace that. And I honestly think that might be what they're going for at this point. But all in all, I'd give it an A plus. I love it. I can't recommend it enough. And yes, so Xbox Ally X is an Xbox. It rocks. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah, it's good to hear that you're having fun with it. I agree with you on the PC thing. Like my PC is it's basically just for video editing and
Hello?
like streaming. So like when it comes to games and filing and stuff, like it's not my knowledge, you know. like I've had to ask people like how to do certain things when it comes to like um for instance, I have no idea how to do game capture on a PC playing an Epic Store game.
Yeah.
It turns out the Windows game mode or whatever it's called does not work when you play an Epic Game Store game. So like I still have no idea how to do that. Um, PCs, like, if you have a PC, like, you basically have backwards compatibility going back to Zork. So, like, you're not really, like when we had our Xbox Ones at launch, like, I've mentioned this before, there was, there was about 20 games on the store at the time because we had no backwards compatibility. Well, on PC, like, that's not the case. You've got, like, tens of thousands of games on Steam. You have the GOG, you have Epic Store, you have all the stuff that's in EA and Ubisoft. Like, it's like on PC, you basically have unlimited options, and you have emulation and stuff, which I can't talk about, because it's a nasty word apparently. But it looks like you have a lot of options on that device. Yeah, I had no idea that certain developers were doing presets for games on the device. Like you said, Chronos, the New Dawn. I had no idea developers were doing that.
Yeah, there are certain games that it is like basically, another kind of fumbled bag from Xbox has been a lack of advertising and promotion of games that are particularly optimized for this very thing. Like, they're on the store for the device itself, you can find handheld optimized games and then search through it and find ones that are like, this is like S tier, like everything's 100% great, good to go, no problems, no quirks, golden. And then you have ones that are, yeah, it's pretty much good to go, but you might need to alter text or something. Or some that are like, yeah, it'll run, but it might not say A, B, X, or Y, and you just have to figure out the button thing or whatever, but it'll work. And then games that are frankly just inoperable on it. So it's just been a missed opportunity, and they should frankly promote it more. The games that are optimized 100% for this device, because they will sell better, I promise you.
Yeah. You think they basically need something that's the equivalent of a Steam Deck verified section?
100%.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully they get on that. I think, if you're Microsoft when it comes to labeling they have a habit of and I like the fact they do this, but some people don't like it. But like they have a habit of putting a lot of labels over game art. Like it's Xbox Series X verified or Xbox Series X optimized, and it's Xbox One X enhanced with HDR and the 4K logos. Um, Obviously do that less with a lot of newer games, but like I get why some people might not like it, but I think a ROG Ally X optimized badge, I don't think anyone would really complain, and like you said, they'd sell more. Um, it's still early days for the device, but we'll see. But like you're probably going to see a bunch of third party stuff for that as well, because people will make plugins and different things that'll work with the store and stuff. But you also have hardware coming out, like I don't know if it's officially out yet, but I know ROG have a first party, well, their own dock. But as far as I know, you can get a regular USB-C to HDMI cord, and that'll work. Have you tried that, Logan?
I haven't yet. I was waiting for later to try that. Particularly, I've been focused more on the handheld aspect of it. But there are some games that I think that I will do that with, especially ones that I can't play on traditional console yet right now.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, a Dino Crisis 1 and 2 collection from GOG maybe. That might be something I play on the TV via USB-C cord. But We shall see.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you have the options there. But yeah, obviously, next week Logan can talk more about his ROG Ally and his impressions and stuff. But before, I was going to say before we close out the show, we still have like 6 topics left. You know what, Microsoft. There's a lot of people been doing doom and glooming when it comes to Xbox stuff for a couple of months now. Shocker to no one. I think people have seen all those posts. But Sarah Bond, once again, was in an interview these past few days. Interview went viral, and a lot of people start taking certain things she was saying, running with it for clickbait. And by the way, I'm not going to say direct names, but like I've seen people post the like actual prices of the next gen consoles without knowing them as clickbait. Oh, the next Xbox is $1,200 based on nothing, right? So in this interview, she's talking about how the next Xbox is, it's going to be a premium device. Xbox consoles have always been referred to as premium devices. Go back to the Xbox One X, right? That was referred to as a premium device. And this person, by the way, and we've talked about this before, and I've said this a million times, I think people from Microsoft, they don't have to do interviews all the time, right? Sarah Bond herself has said like 8+ times this year that next-gen consoles, specific word there, consoles are coming this year. Sorry, are coming in the future, right? We don't need to be told all the time. I don't understand why people from Microsoft constantly go on these interviews, because we don't hear Sony people say, oh yeah, there's a next-gen PlayStation coming. Or like, answer things like, where's the roadmap? Or anything like that. People from IGN, GameStop, or GameSpot, or whatever, right? They never ask people from Sony these questions because they don't do the interviews, right? That's why I put out this post the other day. People that constantly run with the whole forced negative Xbox stuff, don't talk about Xbox for 1 week. Don't talk about Game Pass for 1 week, or the ROG Xbox Ally devices for 1 week. What do you have to talk about? Nothing, right? The game news at the minute is basically funded by Microsoft News. There's no other stories going around that are like, I'm going to say clicky, that get people's attention straight there immediately, because they rely on these clicks. And, look, I'm doing a podcast right now, obviously relies on clicks. We're talking about the topics such as what they've been talking about. But you notice 90% of this show has been about video games, right? I make a conscious effort every single week that we talk about the games, which I think is the most important part. And I think a lot of these big media outlets, and they do, we don't need to hear about the next-gen Xbox every 5 minutes. We already have our consoles. These consoles are either late next year or late 2027. I don't want to hear a peep from them officially for months, right? And the truth is, if you post about Xbox hardware, it gets more clicks. Like, that's always been the case. But after the past few weeks or month of FUD, people are saying, oh, the next gen Xbox, it's not happening. They've given up on hardware. Whereas if you know that the Xbox ecosystem generates billions of dollars, and getting these consoles made costs billions of dollars. Like, Microsoft wouldn't invest in next gen consoles if they had no intention of supporting them going forward. All that aside, for the 50th time, we've had next gen consoles confirmed again, and as premium devices. And bear in mind, Sarah Bond in this interview did not even say the price, but people are running with $1,000 console. And I think the reason why is because, look, the PlayStation 5 Pro it's $700, right? Logan, it is $700, yeah, before it went up.
Yeah, it was like 700, 750, somewhere in there.
Yeah, so let's just say 700, right? Because that console went up in price. Oh, it's a $700 console, right? People are now running with all these premium console news. These premium console prices is $1,000. Clickbait, right? If you pull a face in a thumbnail and say $1,200 Xbox, $1,000 Xbox, you're going to get clicks, right? It's an easy thing to hate on. It's an easy thing to cringe on. But the truth is, we don't know the price of these consoles. The Xbox One was touted as a premium console, right? It was $500. The Xbox One X was touted as a premium console. The Xbox Series X was touted as the premium Xbox device, $500. Now, am I saying that the next console is going to be $500? No, I don't know how much it is. Right? I don't have a magic 8-ball or like a crystal ball telling me like what's going to happen. Right? Everyone doing this stuff, they're lying basically. Right? We don't know how much these consoles are going to cost. Xbox is not going to come out and say our next gen console isn't a premium device. Really think about that. Why would they do that? It's like when you have these actors come out on social media saying, "Oh yeah, this film we're working on, it's going to be special." They're not going to say it's going to be a terrible film, right? Same with hardware manufacturers. They're not going to say their consoles are going to be cheap. Oh yeah, our next console is cheaply made for cheap people. No company ever works like that, right? Nintendo, even they said before their Switch 2 came out, right? They said it was going to be a more premium Switch. You didn't have people running around saying it was going to be $1,000 Switch. And the Switch 2 has a lot of technology packed in it, and it's a portable device that's really thin, right? You dock that thing in, you're playing that new Metroid game at 4K 60, right? Yeah, the Xbox Series S has been called premium, right? So when I see this clickbait, it really annoys me because, look, I get less clicks by not doing the clickbait thing. But it's bloody stupid that people rely that much on doing the clickbait thing. Like, stop clicking on it, right? The $1,000 Xbox doesn't exist until it's announced. How much is the next gen PlayStation going to cost? Do people legit act in the gaming space that the next gen Xbox is going to be $1,000 and the next gen PlayStation is going to be $99? Like, that's how people act, right? We don't know. But once again, Microsoft confirmed that there's next-gen consoles coming. It's going to be a premium device. But the interesting part was the PC hybrid thing that was mentioned because, these consoles we have right now, whether people like it or not, the Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5, they are PCs. They are. They're x86 architecture. They're basically PCs in a fancy box with a unique UI and all that stuff, right? They're just PCs, right? So next gen, and again, being a console, I do not game on PC outside of 2 games. One of which is called Human Fall Flat, which is absurdly addictive. It's also in Game Pass and on console. And the other game I play is Homeworld Remastered Collection. That game will never be on a console because it's an RTS, requires a keyboard and mouse. You can't play it with a controller. Now, the next-gen Xbox is if you have ability to play games via GOG, Steam, all that stuff, as in an app under some form, then that could work. But, like, if people legit think that the next-gen Xbox is a factual PC, they're wrong. They're wrong. Microsoft isn't going to market a PC like that to the console market and the PC market are completely different markets. And the problem is at the minute, I see everyone online act like they're one and the same. Like, if you buy a PC, you want to buy something that you can custom out your way with your money whenever you want. The console space isn't like that. You buy a console, you are locked into that device, that hardware for, it used to be 5 or 6 years, and now it's like 10 or close to 10. But this generation is like a year, 2 years away. People need to stop buying into this whole, like, our next-gen console, it's not a console, it's a PC. Or we know it's $1,200 because some person made a cringe thumbnail. We have IGN talking about, like, IGN posted it's going to be a high-end premium device, and I think they said it was, like, going to be $1,000 based on nothing. Right? Based on nothing. Absolute clickbait. And by the way, I will always call out, I try to be professional at the minute because I'm talking to more publishers and stuff. But the truth is, I will call out this clickbait mentality because it benefits no one, right? The reason we keep getting this clickbait because people keep clicking on it. That's it. If you stop clicking on it, you stop getting it. And look, the clickbait space for Xbox, it's an easy target right now. You want to complain about Game Pass, which they raised the price? Cool. I think they shouldn't have raised the price. But if you look at Xbox from a a software point of view and a hardware point of view, like, I'm perfectly happy and content with my Series X. I like the idea that, in the future they're going to do some hybrid stuff. It could be cool. They're experimenting with ROG in the handheld space. Really cool. It's something new for Xbox being in the handheld space. But like, as of now, I'm satisfied with my Series X. A lot of people are. Nobody's out here calling needing for new hardware. We're always going to look. Some people might not like what I'm about to say. Some developers are always going to do this 30 frames per second thing, right? Because marketing graphics is way easier to the millions of gamers out there than saying, hey, our game's going to run at 120 frames per second. That is 100% true, right? Some people, they say they can't see the difference between 30 and 60 frames per second. The truth is, a lot of people just don't care, right? That's how it is, right? All these people that say they won't play a game because it's 30 frames per second. Do you think those people are going to stop themselves from playing GTA 6 next year? Now, if you're on PC and you want to wait for the PC version, that makes sense for, waiting, because why wouldn't you? But like, if you're a console player and you all of a sudden say, no, I don't want to play games at 30 frames per second, you're still going to buy GTA. It's still going to happen. Console developers are always going to aim for 30 at some point. It happens. But like, back to Logan, I've been talking for a bit. Like, the whole high end thing in the past 2 days has been taken way out of context, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think she was just being honest that these things are not going to be cheap. I mean, this is going to be a, luxurious device. It is, console prices definitely are not going down. They're going up. It's a matter of how up does this go. Like, to me, I don't think a traditional console, quote unquote, purely under your TV console or console hybrid can retail to a traditional consumer family for a astronomical price. I just don't think that will fly. Unless they're basically just punting on the casual, normal audience and going only for hardcore people and whale account type folks that they think will shell down whatever it costs to get this thing. Which there are people who will. But to me, I think it will be definitely more expensive than the Series X. But I'm not ready to go to $1,000 yet on that. I know this coming from the guy who paid $1,000 for the Ally X, but um, I know. Hearing me say this might sound ironic, but I bought that because I see a vision and I want to experience this and I want to test it out, and it is technically Asus led on the pricing. And they're competing in a quote PC market. And if you take the specs from this and compared it to like a gaming laptop or a desktop PC with all this gaming specs and stuff, you'd be looking at something way more expensive than $1,000. So, like, to me, it's I think a traditional console experience, even as a hybrid, I think $1,000 would be like a roof. I don't think you can be hitting that as a starting point and expecting those things to sell much at all. Like, this was clearly a niche device and marketed as such, but hoping that maybe it's affordable enough for what it is that people jump in. But a traditional console or even a traditional console hybrid for under your TV, normal families, DOA might be a hard term, but I think if you're hitting above $1,000 or for that, you're not going to have a good time.
Yeah. And look, these people from IGN and all, I can't remember the name of the outlet that interviewed Sarah Bond. I don't understand. Like, I do understand because it's clicky. That's the term I'm going to use, right? Why is every question about next gen, right? I know we're 5 years into this generation almost, but like, why? What's the obsession with talking about next gen? Like, look, Microsoft, they have a great first party roadmap. Talk about that, right? It has to be about, is the next gen console going to be a premium device? Like, can you really imagine Sarah Bond going, no, it's going to be cheap and it's made out of cardboard? Like, no. Like, oh my god, it's so infuriating.
Nintendo could sell that.
They could probably. That'll sell like 100 million consoles. But yeah, it's just weird. Look, let's say Microsoft does the traditional console thing, and let's say it comes out next year, and they announce it at the Summer Game Show. Cool. Then from then on, I'll make videos about like I did with the Xbox Series X, right? I made videos about every hardware feature, software feature, up until the console's release, and that was legit stuff to talk about. But like when we're trying to theorize what high-end device means, when they've been saying that for years. Like, obviously, look, considering these consoles cost a lot of money to make, and they clearly don't want to take the hit like they have in the past. Can I see it being more than 500? Yeah, but I don't think it's going to be the price people are going with. Like, obviously the ROG is going to be $1,000 because it has a screen on it. They have to cram that much power onto a smaller chip. There's also the power behind it as well, like the legitimate power, right? If you buy a console, there's a decent chunk of that console dedicated to the power supply, right? To shrink something like that down and put it in a portable device takes a lot of effort, right? The Switch 2's form factor, right? The fact that they were able to squeeze that into that form factor, that thin, like that's crazy, right? Same with the ROG Ally. Same with the Steam Deck. I'm surprised they got those things that thin. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, like my word of advice to people from Xbox is just stop doing the interviews about next gen Xboxes. We know they are coming, right? Yes, you have these people on social media that will pay attention to the Xbox's dead clickbait, but guess what? The clickbait is still happening. Today, I just saw Linus Tech Tips, a channel I really respect, put out a video of Xbox is doomed. Right? Like, come on. Right? I think the most subscribed tech channel on all of YouTube and all of the internet is making an Xbox is doomed video after we've been told 45,000 times that a new console's coming.
Everybody's doing it.
Yeah, it makes so much. Look, they make money off these videos. Look, I can't sit here and say videos, it's not nice to get views and money off videos. Of course it is. You want to see that the video you've spent time on, and in a lot of cases, money to make these videos to make money, right? That's a nice thing. However, we've been told 40 times this year that next-gen consoles are coming, right? Future investment into video games is happening. But we're still seeing Xbox's doomed content because it makes bank. Like you take a topic such as Xbox does one thing and PlayStation does the same thing, right? The video about Xbox gets more views. That's just the fact. Xbox has had this wave of hate for decades, and the fact that they're in the console business still, really, some people just don't like it. Some people are still angry that Microsoft bought Rare. Like, they're still stuck in this old mindset, like they can't get over it. But they're running with the Xbox is dead stuff, even though this past week we've been told by Sarah Bond 50 times that these consoles are happening. Don't click on the clickbait, right? The reason why we see Xbox is doomed clickbait all the time is because people keep clicking on it. Anyway, that topic's over. Now we'll quickly talk about Fallout, because Again, we had about 8 topics left, but I've just realised we've been going for now 2 hours 15 minutes. And by the way, if you've been enjoying the show, hope you've enjoyed it. Hope the audio's been great and all that stuff. You've been awesome. Fallout 3, the Fallout event is tomorrow, I believe. And a lot of people... Actually, Logan, is that tomorrow, the Fallout showcase?
Honestly, I can't remember. I think it's this week, though.
So the Fallout showcase is coming, and I'll try and find it while we're live. Fallout. Okay, here we go. So Fallout... oh yeah, tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern... they said they're going to be showing off stuff regarding Fallout 76, the Burning Springs update, Fallout Shelter, Fallout 4, Fallout 4 Creations, new merch drop, community in-person events, and a post-show celebrating the community. Now, a lot of replies are angry because they assumed that the Fallout 3 remake was going to be there. I think that, look, that Fallout 3 remake was announced... Well, not announced, but it was in the same league as the Oblivion stuff. And before the Oblivion announcement, we were told that there was going to be an Obsidian... Sorry, I'm all over the place today. We were told that there was going to be a Bethesda stream, right? So we all kind of put, one and one together. We got two, we got it, right? I think when it comes to Fallout, like, we all know what's coming. It's just about the when. Season 2 of the show is just around the corner in December. That is going to be a weekly show. It all isn't dropping at once. So, like, considering how much hype Season 1 got, like, it got Fallout 4 top selling all across Europe. Like, you want to move the needle with Fallout in some capacity if you're Xbox. So, like, getting the remake announced this year would make a lot of sense. They did put out a post the other day saying there won't be anything regarding new games at this showcase. But then again, Fallout 3 already exists, so people can twist it that way. So really, we're not going to know till tomorrow. However, I still think that the Fallout 3 remake comes out this year. Like, you have to get the Fallout thing out this year. Like, Logan, we've talked about this like 50 times since the Fallout was since Fallout 3 was in that league. Like, do you think that's going to be there tomorrow, even though they say it's not going to be? Because it could still come out this year or be announced this year, even though it doesn't happen tomorrow.
I don't know. Like, personally, if I had to guess, I would say no at this point. But because I think they might announce it closer to the show, or maybe after the show launches, then they have a surprise stream or something, and then they announce it, and then everybody's like, "Oh, hey, what perfect timing! The show just launched again, and now we've got this." Like, maybe they do it that way, but it's surely got to be soon. But I'm not convinced it will be tomorrow. And maybe all the blowback they get from not having it tomorrow will get it out the door quicker because, frankly, we all know how bad they've been at getting Fallout content out there, period. So the more people are triggered and mad about it, the quicker they'll probably get it done.
Yeah, I mean, look, Fallout 3 is one of my favorite games of all time. This might be controversial. I think Fallout 3 is better than New Vegas. I know some people might not like that, but you know what I think ruins Fallout New Vegas for me? I can't stand the color palette. That whole game is blinding orange. I don't know.
Yeah, it's gross visually.
Yeah, I bear in mind, I live in the UK. Everything's blue or grey. So like, what can I say? But like Fallout 3, like that whole game is, it's it's bluish, greenish, yellowish. It's pure color. it Fallout 3 is pure color, but like if the remake is slightly more colorful, maybe if it's, I don't know, maybe if it's more in the vein of Fallout 4 where you are clearly in a wasteland, um, but there's still some color there. You still have a nice blue sky. There's like orange buildings and stuff, and you have Fallout 4 style. The dream is Fallout 4 style gameplay in Fallout 3. That's the dream. Um, and considering how good the Oblivion remake is, and I keep calling it a remake because it feels disingenuous to call that a remaster, considering what they did to it. But use whatever terms people want. But like, considering how good that game was, I can't wait to see what they do with Fallout. And the thing about Fallout 3 is that you have so many expansions. You have Mothership Zeta, which I will stand on this hill and fight to say that is the best Fallout 3 expansion. You have The Pit. You have Broken Steel. Right? There's a couple of others. The Operation Anchorage. Right? They have so many cool expansions that are so different from each other that the fact that we could be getting all that in one package, Fallout 3 plus, 5 expansions, that's hundreds of hours of content. Hundreds. But yeah, just thought I'd bring that up quickly because, again, we're like an hour and 20 minutes into the show. Logan, have you got anything else to say before we close out the show?
Yeah, I would say that I'm looking forward to the ID at Xbox show on the 28th, and it sounds like there might be some fun things there, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I do give IGN a bit crap, but these ID Xbox showcases, we do get some good games there. If I check the date, okay, so the ID at Xbox showcase will have happened about an hour before next week's show, which will be fun. We'll obviously cover everything that's going to be shown there. But yeah, everyone in chat, once again, has been awesome. Logan, it's been great talking to you once again. And look, we are on Wednesday this week. We're back to Tuesday next week. Sorry for the inconvenience. I meant to put out a post on YouTube's community page. It wasn't working yesterday. So hopefully in the future that won't be the case. But again, everyone in chat has been amazing. And yes, Fallout 3 is the best Fallout. We'll be back the same time on Tuesday. But yeah, on Tuesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. I think the clocks go back in the UK this week. So if you're listening to the UK and Europe, it should be 10 p.m. instead of 11. Again, I'll post all that stuff on social media. Anyway, everyone chat's been